Hi everyone, it's Natalie and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a very special book haul, and that is because Scholastic went off and for Latinx / Hispanic Heritage Month sent me a bunch of books. And so I'm going to be hauling them for y'all today. So I'm going to be dividing these into children's, middle grade, and young adult. I will have the timestamps for that down below so that you can skip around to whatever section is most interesting to you. And of course, all these books are by Latinx / Hispanic authors and with Latinx / Hispanic protagonists. So I'm really excited to be highlighting all of these books. Also, before I get started, I just want to say that y'all cannot even begin to comprehend how excited I was when I started receiving packages from Scholastic, because I filled out a form hoping that maybe they'd send me a couple of books for Hispanic / Latinx Heritage Month, and they sent me so much more and went above and beyond, and I was literally screaming with each package that arrived at my house. So my little Puerto Rican heart is just melting into a puddle. But now, okay, let's get started with the children's books. So the first two books I'm going to be talking about together because they're by the same authors, and that is 10 Little Birds and Hello Friend by 123 Andres and illustrated by Sarah Palacios. So these two, I believe, are kind of like songs. So this one is about the 10 little birds, is about counting to 10. And then this one, I'm sure, has something to do with friendship. These look very cute. I will be giving these to a friend since he has a little nephew, and they will definitely get a lot more out of these than I will. The next one is The Children's Moon by Carmen Agra Didi and illustrated by Jim LaMarche. This one, I believe, is something about children who really like the moon and the moon really likes them, and it's some kind of either game or thing where the moon is trying to spend more time with the kids. Something cutesy and sweet like that. The next one is Bisas Carnaval by Joana Pastro, illustrated by Carolina Coroa. This one, I believe, is about a little girl that with the help of her bisabuela is preparing for a carnaval, but once she's at the carnaval, she starts kind of missing her bisabuela who can't attend because she's getting older. So this one I'm actually very much looking forward to reading just because it looks super cute, and maybe might be slightly sad, but also joyful. So I'm kind of into that. So I will probably be reading this one, even though I don't typically read children's books. The last children's book I'm going to be talking about is Sing With Me by Jose Luis Orozco, illustrated by Sarah Palacios. This one, I think, is just like popular nursery rhyme type songs in both English and Spanish. And again, another one I'm going to be giving to my friend so that he can read it with his nephew. Seems cute, so yeah. So now I'm going to be talking about the middle grade books that Scholastic sent me, and the first one is Ghost Squad by Claribel A. Ortega. In this one, we follow two friends who accidentally summon, I think, a lot of malicious spirits. And so they have to join together with the grandmother of one of them to kind of send these ghosts back into the spirit realm and stop all the chaos that they have unleashed. So I'm very much looking forward to this one. This is one that I heard about last year, who everyone seemed to really be enjoying. So I'm definitely going to be checking this one out. I might even read it in October for a light, spooky read, since this does take place in October, a few days or so before Halloween. So I'm into it. The next couple of books I'm going to be talking about are actually Spanish editions of these books that were previously first published in English. And the first of those is Mañana Land by Pam Munoz Ryan. I'm going to read the summary from my phone because for some reason I'm really struggling to summarize this one. Maximiliano Córdoba loves stories, especially the legend Vuelo tells him about a mythical gatekeeper who can guide brave travelers on a journey into tomorrow. If Max could see tomorrow, he would know if he'd make Santa Maria's celebrated football team and whether he'd ever meet his mother, who disappeared when he was a baby. He longs to know more about her, but Papa won't talk. So when Max uncovers a buried family secret involving an underground network of guardians who lead people fleeing a neighboring country to safety, he decides to seek answers on his own. With a treasured compass, a mysterious stone rubbing, and Abuelo's legend as his only guides, he sets out on a perilous quest to discover if he is true of heart and what the future holds. So yeah, this one seems very cute but also emotional, which is my vibe. And I just love this cover. Like, one, it gives very fall vibes, and two, it's just wonderfully illustrated. Like, y'all see that? It's gorgeous. It's freaking gorgeous. The next book that they also sent me, the Spanish edition, is Land of the Cranes by Aida Salazar. This one is written in verse, which I was very surprised when I started skimming it. This one is about this girl who immigrates to Los Angeles with her family, and her father gets detained by ICE and deported back to Mexico, and then eventually she and her mother are also detained. And so these are the poems she writes throughout that experience, I believe. Again, this one sounds very, very, very emotional, but it sounds also like it might be incredibly beautifully written because it's in verse. So I'm looking forward to reading this one, especially because I am into novels in verse. So yeah, I'm hoping I really, really love this. The next book is Leti Out Loud by Angela Cervantes. In this one, we follow Leti, who loves volunteering at the animal shelter. And when they offer her to write the little profiles to help these animals get adopted, she really, really wants to do so. But another one of the volunteers also really wants to be kind of the number one chosen to write those profiles. So they have this kind of unofficial competition to see whose profiles of animals gets the most adoptions. But by participating in this, Leti is scared that she will be kicked out as a volunteer and won't be able to adopt the dog that she really, really likes. I'm not gonna lie, y'all, this one just sounds like so precious. The next book is The Way to Rio Luna by Zoraida Cordova. In this one, we follow this boy who has been separated from his sister because of the foster care system. And so when they were younger, they always kind of talked about this fictional world that they wanted to live in and that they believed was real. But as he starts getting older, he kind of stops believing that this world, Rio Luna, is real. But then suddenly he finds, I believe, in a library, a book that kind of gives him a map to Rio Luna. And so he decides to follow it because he's convinced that that will mean that he will find his sister. I really want to read more books by this author, so I'm so happy that Scholastic sent me this book so that I can delve into this author's backlist, because truly it is offensive that I have not already, because I've read a couple of her things that have been great. So the fact that I haven't just committed to this author is like, what am I doing with my life? The next one is a graphic novel called Manu by Kelly Fernandez. In this one, we follow two girls who go to an all-girls magical school, and one of these friends, Manu, is very, very magically gifted, but she's kind of only into pulling pranks. But one day when her friend wishes for Manu's magic to be taken away, it actually disappears. And so Manu does a spell to get back her power, but instead she gets back too much power and it's out of control. So now both of them have to figure out a way to get it back under control. This one, at the moment of filming this video, isn't out yet, but it might be out by the time that I actually release this video. So I just think it looks super cute and I'm very much looking forward to reading it. So yeah. The next two books I'm going to be talking about are kind of a cross between middle grade and young adult. So the first one is Esperanza Rising by Pam Munoz Ryan. This one is another one that I forgot I had the Spanish edition, but in this one we follow this girl who grew up in Mexico as very middle class to upper middle class, but then something happens and her family loses its wealth, and so they end up moving to California to work as farm laborers. And so it's about her transitioning into this very different lifestyle. This one is another one that sounds like very hard-hitting, but also like it might be amazing, so I'm intrigued. The next one is a comic, and it is Miles Morales Shockwaves by Justin A. Reynolds and illustrated by Pablo Leon. This one, I believe, is about earthquakes that impact Puerto Rico very, very negatively, and so Miles Morales decides to raise money in order to help the people of the island. But one of the key fundraising people kind of goes missing, and someone else also goes missing, and he's trying to figure out what is going on in that whole situation. And I haven't read any Miles Morales, so I'm very, very excited that I got sent this so that I can finally get into some Miles Morales stuff, because I think I only saw the Into the Spider-Verse movie and haven't really touched more into this version of Spider-Man, so I'm hyped. So I'm finally going to be talking about the young adult books, and the first one is Shadow Shaper by Daniel Jose Older. I'm going to be reading the summary of this from the back because, again, struggling. Sierra Santiago planned to have an easy summer of making art and hanging out with her friends. But then a corpse crashes the first party of the season. Her stroke-ridden grandfather starts apologizing over and over, and when the murals in her neighborhood begin to weep real tears, well, something more sinister than the usual in Brooklyn ruckus is going on. With the help of a mysterious fellow artist named Robbie, Sierra discovers shadow shaping, a thrilling magic that infuses ancestral spirits into paintings, music, and stories. But someone is killing the shadow shapers one by one, and the killer believes Sierra is hiding their greatest secret. Now she must unravel her family's past, take down the killer in the present, and save the future of shadow shaping for herself and generations to come. So this one is an older release. I believe it's at least a few years old, but I have always had my eye on it, so I'm very excited to start this. I believe it's also the first in a series, so I'm hoping I really enjoy it and I can continue on with the series. The next book I'm going to be talking about is one I'm really, really excited to read, and that is Where We Go From Here by Lucas Rocha. In this one, we follow 3 boys. One of them has been living with HIV for 3 years and was dating another boy. And even though this other boy tested negative for HIV, he kind of feels betrayed by the fact that the one who was HIV positive didn't tell him about this. However, somehow he ends up meeting this other boy who has recently been diagnosed with HIV. And so he decides that his ex-boyfriend should connect with this boy and kind of help him navigate this diagnosis. So this one sounds so incredible. It has jumped to the top of my TBR. I'm really seriously hoping to read this in October because it just sounds so amazing. I really want to love this, y'all. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I really want to love this, and I hope it is everything I want it to be and more. The next book is actually one that they sent me a second copy, so I'm going to be sending the second copy over to Steph from Coffee Over Apples, and that is On the Hook by Francisco X. Stork. This is another one that I'll be reading the summary from the back because it has some complex dynamics that I think are best explained by the actual official summary. Hector has always worked hard and minded his own business. He wants to be captain of his school's chess team, go to college, and help his family make their way to a better life someday. Until Joey singles him out. Joey, whose older brother, Chavo, is the head of the Discípulos gang, tells Hector that he's going to kill him. Maybe not today or tomorrow, but someday. And Hector, frozen with fear, does nothing. From that day forward, Hector's death hangs over his head every time he leaves the house. He tries to fade into the shadows, to drop off of Joey's radar, to become no one. But when a fight between Chavo and Hector's brother Fili escalates, Hector is left with no choice but to take a stand. The violent confrontation lands Hector in a reform school where he has to live side by side with his enemy, Joey. There, it's up to Hector to choose whether he's going to lose himself to anger and seek revenge or get back to the hard work of living. This is another one that, again, since I already have another copy, I was really looking forward to it because I had requested that copy. So hopefully this year or next year I read this. The last book I'm going to be talking about is a cross between young adult and adult, and it is Becoming Maria by Sonia Manzano. So I'm just going to read a short little portion of the summary. Set in the 1950s in the Bronx, this is the beautifully wrought coming-of-age memoir of Emmy Award-winning actress and writer Sonia Manzano, who defined the role of Maria on the acclaimed children's television series Sesame Street. So I had never heard of this before, but it does sound very interesting, so I will keep my eye on it. So, okay, y'all, we did it. We made it through all the books. I'm sorry if the angles changed a lot in this video. All of my pets have been really aggressively trying to get my attention while I was filming this video, so I kept having to get up and pay attention to them, but we made it. We're here. I hope some of these books caught your eye. I'm really looking forward to reading quite a few of them, and I'm so thankful to Scholastic for sending me all of these. So yeah, that's it for today's video. Thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. If you would like to follow me on any of my social media, I will have the links to that down below in the description. But for now, see you next time.